Hello, and welcome to part 10 of the St. Louis Spirits series. We have just concluded a four-peat for the St. Louis Spirits. Man, that is a. So I figured we would eventually win championships. It has kind of become like a recurring thing quicker than I would have expected. But yeah, it's been a good time. So yeah, check that out. We had uh, four in a row right there. Couple sweeps, couple in six. Still haven't won one on our home court, which is kind of wild, but I guess we're gonna have to just keep winning championships until we get one of those. But yeah, like looking at these teams, and also four different teams vanquished in the finals, two of which have won championships. We took down Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons in our last series, and then 2 years prior swept the Celtics, who had won a couple with Larry Bird. And I mean, to some extent, also the Cedric Maxwell team from 80-81. But yeah, that's a team right there. We are really cooking, but I think that there may be some things that we're going to have to do to kind of improve what we're doing. We're going to have to really kind of step things up a little bit to be a little bit more sustainable. Just kind of looking through some of these season award type things. It's like Hakeem was league leader three times. That's fun. Still haven't had a scoring champion, but yes, this is mostly a bunch of Matt Johnson years. John Stockton in there too. Hakeem had the block title for 4 years in a row. His first 4 years at that. All right, let's go to the off season. Player retirements. Alex English is retiring. Dennis Johnson, St. Louis Spirits legend. Kind of unironically, he won a championship with us, which was that was just for he was just there for the first of the titles, but he was a contributor to the team, and he eventually went on to Charlotte, and just hard not to have some sort of respect for him if you're a fan of this franchise. He's not going to get his number retired, I'm sure, but he's going to be a salute to this guy, salute to this team. Michael Thompson retiring. There's Michael Cooper, our guy, who didn't play last season, but played his last three seasons with the Spirits. Got some titles there. Shout out to Lorenzo Romar, former coach of St. Louis University basketball. Yeah, obviously, as we start to go down a little bit, a little lesser of players, but all right. So nobody on the Spirits retires in there. Rudy Tomjanovich, who I guess in this universe never became a head coach, but was head assistant for the Knicks. Brandon Harrison, don't know who that is. We have Billy Cunningham, who been head coach of the Sixers for a while. Doug Moe was the head coach of the Nuggets. Mike Fratello for the Hawks. Got some guys who actually had some pretty long tenure here. Hopefully, our guys aren't up for extensions this offseason, but George Gervin makes the Hall of Fame. Jersey retirements: Alex English with the Nuggets, George Gervin with the Spurs. Sure, historic changes. Magic have some uniforms and floor changes. Not a whole lot changing here. None of these potential changes are close to the 21 votes required for approval, so not really weighing making any changes there. Draft lottery is not going to involve the Spirits. I know that because we just don't have the draft picks for it. It's actually a little bit strange because we had a run for a while where even though we were really good, we kept having these draft picks, but I guess we, for the most part, use those up. We have the Pistons pick this year, but those are not actually paying off for us in terms of the lottery. But yeah, the Jazz get the number one overall pick, and then the Bulls and the Timberwolves. Then we pick at 24 and 28. Maybe we trade up if there's a player we really like. I don't know. All right, let's start to recruit some guys. So Team Doctor. We've got 4.5 stars, Daryl Thomas. That seems like he does have an offer. Team budget for the select position is 113,000. Let's max out the offer there. CFO. This guy's a 5-star. These guys are probably honestly pretty close. Dante Moncrief is up there. Let's go for Moncrief. Then assistant GM. This guy, Al Thomas. So we got Daryl Thomas. Moncrief declines. So we have to go for somebody else for the CFO. Just go for this guy. Thomas declines. He does some GM job. Let's go for this guy. I'm not entirely sure what difference the assistant GM actually makes in these, but yeah, got all the positions signed up, so we're in good shape. On to the draft combine, sitting through here. Pre-draft workouts. Yeah, we're going to kind of do what we do every year, which is bring in the top guys and then, at least consider if we want to do some sort of moving up. So one of our C pluses we're not going to scout. I guess that's going to be Larry Stewart, even though he's theoretically the one that has the best chance. Okay, so let's look at our roster and see what we're looking at right now. Actually, we'll do it through the trade section, kind of see what we have, see what kind of moves we're going to need to make. So, we have Mullen and we have Elijah who are both on these big deals. We're going to have a team option for Mitch Richmond, which I'm sure we'll accept. Kevin Johnson's going to go to restricted free agency. We're going to have a team option for Rick Smits, which I'm sure we'll accept. I'm wondering what kind of offers are available for Hakeem. Because he's been pretty grumpy lately. So we would be offered AC Green, who's a 92, plus Bimbo Coles, who I don't think we necessarily have any real need for, but it's something. AC Green is an interesting fit here, just because he is. Yeah, I don't think we want to make any of these trades before the draft. Let's look at the scouting and see who's available, and if there's somebody we want to really kind of reach for. I had kind of incomplete results on most of these guys. Like, obviously, Dikembe would be incredible, but with Hakeem doesn't really make a lot of sense. Not really any players in this draft that are like, oh, you want to trade absolutely everything to get these guys. Like, obviously, Larry Johnson, Steve Smith, Stacey Augmon. Like, there are good basketball players in this draft, but not necessarily somebody that we're getting ready to, like, sort of sell the farm for. So let's see what the mocks have us doing. They have us taking Sean Vander out of Arizona. Kind of uninspiring. Looks a little bit like Luke Walton, who's also an Arizona player, but that's pretty much my entire commentary. Jimmy Oliver out of Purdue, who doesn't really have a whole lot to say either. Let's just jump into the NBA draft, kind of see how this starts off. So the Jazz, they take Dikembe, which is expected to happen. Bulls take Larry Johnson. Timberwolves take Stacey Augmon. So a couple UNLV guys right off the bat. So far, guys are pretty much going in kind of expected order. So we're going to kind of sim through the first few of these guys, and then we'll jump in around 13. Let's just look at the scouting page, see who is available. Suddenly all these guys, we can see what they are. because they got drafted. Doug Smith is probably the best player available, but even he is like a starter as his ceiling. You know, I like that he's a Mizzou guy, of course, but not necessarily looking at making some sort of enormous move for him. Maybe we could wait a few, and if he like is still available at like 18, maybe we make a move up, but probably not worth it at this point. So the Celtics take Dale Davis, Robert Pack, Stanley Roberts. Okay, Doug Smith goes to the Nuggets. All right, let's just sim to user pick and see what comes up here. So it's a bunch of C's. You have LaBradford Smith, kind of probably most famous for the supposed run-ins with Michael Jordan that are not actually like real in a more literal sense. A lot of C's out there. Rick Fox is probably the biggest name among these guys, and he's ranked 13th. He's the number one player. I accidentally pressed a bunch of buttons, but number one small forward in the draft, which is at least somewhat intriguing. Yeah, there's just so many guys here that just probably there's not like a huge difference between these guys. Yeah, there's not. It's not there's any players out here that it's like, oh, this guy is going to be a true star. Okay, so you have aggregates. I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to figure out kind of fits here. I mean, Rick Fox is probably the answer. Let's see if there's any market for this pick. A few teams are offering us first round picks. Paul Graham, who went 4 picks earlier, is being offered in a trade, which is kind of weird, but that is the offer at least. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Rick Fox. Yeah, I think there's a decent chance we end up trading away our next pick. Yeah, now there's suddenly somebody who's like Bison Dele, RIP, who is the next prospect. You know, really not a very good offensive player. That's it seems like he's kind of a broke man's version of centers we have already. Rick Fox is a 73. It looks like. Okay. A lot of first round picks are available for this pick. Anything that's like semi recent is going to require some sort of protections, but or semi soon. Bulls have a top 3 protected. Cavs are lottery protected. Let's do that Bullets trade. Yeah, it'll give us a top 3 protected first. So we lose out on Bison Dele. And then sim the user pick. If 3 C- level players who, you know, I doubt any of these guys are really particularly good, but there's something there. Purvis Short. Okay. I mean, I would say Isaac Austin probably is the. I can't imagine there's going to be too much in terms of offers. There's not. Sure. Isaac Austin, you are a St. Louis Spirits draft pick. Rookie signing. Yeah, I mean, Rick Fox, not an awesome pick, but you know, he's a 73 overall. It's fine. That's suggesting to sign Isaac Austin, which, yeah, sure, that's fine. Team and player options. So we're gonna accept Richmond. We're gonna accept kind of across the board on these guys. I'm looking at Mookie Blaylock and David Benoit. I'm thinking, let's make trades. Let's get these guys out of here. I think that these are reasonable options to pick up, but not necessarily guys that we're like dying to have. So before we get to the qualifying offers, let's kind of weigh our positions here and what kind of moves we can make to clear out some space. maybe make some moves down the road. Okay, so let's see what kind of offers we can get for Blaylock. What if we try to package Blaylock and David Benoit? And the Sixers really want to give us Bimbo Coles. Bulls are offering us 2 firsts. Was not expecting that. We're gonna have to revisit that, I think. Warriors are offering us 2 unprotected firsts. Goodness gracious. The top 10 protected, top 3 protected. Yeah, let's make this trade. Let's get those picks out there. And then we got a let's see. So what would Hakeem get us? A lot more trades being offered up. Ironically, Brad Doherty is among the things we can get. Yeah, I just, I don't want to give this guy away because I think he's still quite good. He's 28 years old, for goodness sake. It's not like I'm trying to sell off a guy who's like breaking down. Honestly, trading away Rick Smits might make more sense just because, he's on 1 more year. We're probably not going to want to extend him for like RFA kind of years, but get some real assets out of Rick Smits that might make more sense. So let's see what kind of trades we can make here. A lot of first round pick plus a player type of deals. Any of these guys particularly? The Bulls might be an interesting partner here. So J.R. Reed, who I think would definitely could be a contributor here, plus a first round pick next year. I want to see if we can maybe get another pick here. Seems at least plausible. Let's try a 94 first round pick. They decline. If they want to switch this to a pick swap, St. Louis gets the best of the picks, which let's be honest, in this case, the Spirits would be trading their first round. Like the only circumstance under which the Spirits are not trading the lower pick would be one in which like both teams are awesome next year. In which case, so be it. But let's make that trade. I'm good with that. We might soon be in a position where we can actually like sign guys, which would be kind of rare air for us, which I'm not even sure that we necessarily need to get into that range, but would make things interesting. Who else here would make sense? I think we're probably just going to lose Pippen. Johnson and Anderson, we can just kind of extend. Qualifying offer. Let's just decline it on. Let's just not with Steve Kerr, but the other guys, we'll do that. I mean, Scottie Pippen at 1.72 is not. I actually don't know if I necessarily want to even keep him around for that amount. We'll definitely offer to Kevin Johnson. We'll offer to Greg Anderson. Pippen's just kind of been a little bit of a bust, to be honest. It's disappointing because obviously he's such a great player, in real life. But fifth overall pick has not like even challenged needing a starting spot. Which I know he's behind Chris Mullin, but like we can make room, at shooting guard or something. But it just hasn't even done that. So there are some pretty good players that are listed as affordable for us, though I think that we're probably mostly going to be going for like our guy, so that they actually still have Pippen listed as being an getting a qualified offer. Which whatever, I'm not going to sweat that too much. Let's see what kind of offers Buck Williams is getting. Not very much. That's the easy answer. Not very much. Are there any players who are out there that we'd rather? I mean, Greg Anderson, I think, is just clearly the best player available at power forward. Best player overall at a position that we could actually have some sort of use for. Let's advance a day and see what happens here. So we now have 904,000 in cap room, but also includes a bunch of our own guys. Owen Robertson's not exactly getting a whole lot there. We don't have bird rights on him though. Yeah, I think he's just gonna go somewhere else, and that's just kind of unavoidable. So I guess did our guy go elsewhere? I guess he did, right? Because he's not. Oh, there he is. So Greg Anderson's just a UFA now, huh? Buck Williams is just an outright free agent, but he's getting offered like serious money by the Hornets. This may be where I learn how free agency works on the fly. Sometimes it can be a little bit messy. Let's look at this roster. Let's look at what we have right now. So, I mean, power forward is the real we need to actually like lock this down a little bit kind of spot. So, who are the available power forward? Not really anyone, honestly. Skim through these days. Yeah, we may end up having to sign guys in free agency like later because we just don't have as many players as we would like to have. Okay. Okay, so Steve Kerr is back. Great. I just think we needed Steve Kerr back. But on the bright side, yeah, so Mitch Richmond and Tim Hardaway have really stepped up. J.R. Reed, honestly, like, he actually would probably be okay for what we need because he's a good rebounder. And if this ends up being a team that's like taking a little bit of a step back, things could go a lot worse. So let's sign up these guys for Summer League. So Scottie Pippen is still available. I mean, yeah, if Scottie Pippen wants to come back at like a league minimum kind of amount, I would certainly welcome him back for that. I don't think that he's going to be a great player, but we're not trying to disown the guy either. Okay, so All-Star City selection, All-Star games in Phoenix. 92 is actually a pretty interesting draft class because that's like the Shaquille O'Neal draft class, which could be a lot. It could be a very interesting thing, but also, what are we going to do with Akeem? I think that's a real question that we're going to have to figure out the answer to, hopefully before next season. All right, Trilly to Goat, yeah, 92. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so we are getting the full-on era switch little picture. The power ranking's actually at 8th. Let's see who they ended up picking up for us. So Steve Kerr actually might end up getting some actual decent minutes here. But yeah, most of these guys that they picked up are just, that's not going to work. Any of these guys tradable? Probably Isaac Austin would be, I suppose, but make sure if there's free agents worth getting. There are, including Greg Anderson. I don't know what happened to him. He's like laundered through or something, but let's get rid of some guys. Get an actual backup point guard here. Shooting guard. Complete scrub and Jeremy Nance. Ray Neely actually was on the team previously last year. We'll keep Neely around, I guess, but we'll take Jerry Nance out of there. Small forward. I don't know what we need to possibly have for Danny Pearson. Small or power forward. Kenny Denard. Yeah, what? Okay, man. Okay, so we actually cannot release him yet because of roster limits, but we're going to be signing guys, so no big deal there. Derek Harper as a backup point guard would actually be pretty sick. Not sure if he's going to be willing to do that. Oh, he is willing to. I'm going to see if there's any guys who are out here that aren't down for doing it as being a backup. Okay, find what the on this screen that has the. Okay, so expected is actually just. Yeah, the only guys who have expected amounts are the ones that I already released. Yeah, don't think I'm going to be re-signing these guys, so that's fine. The best point guard, I think, Derek Harper is clearly the answer. Great 3-and-D guy, a guy who has played for Phoenix, played for Dallas, has just generally been a good player. He's going to be the backup here, but we'll offer that. So where did Kevin Johnson go, though? Because I must have missed where he signed. Let's search for that. Obviously, more than a few Johnsons out there. So Kevin Johnson signed with the Nets for 4 years. He at least signed like a real contract. He never got a chance to match, though. That's interesting. Okay. At least we know what happened. We salute you, Kevin Johnson. You did a great job with this team, but you stabbed us in the back. So we are going to now be out to destroy you. All right, Greg Anderson, I think, is clearly the next guy up. He's going to be our starting power forward. Honestly, if he had just, he was going to be the starting power forward anyway. He could have. They actually put Derek Harper in the starting lineup ahead of Tim Hardaway. That seems like a thing that's going to kind of bounce back and forth. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. So we still have a couple spots left to get a. Honestly, we kind of just want to get backups at like every position, probably. Backup shooting guard. Hey, Alvin Robertson's available again. We'd love to have him back. Love to have you back, Alvin. League minimum? Sure, let's do this. Yep. And like normally I would feel kind of bad about signing all these guys to the minimum, but this is probably what would happen in real life with a lot of these guys. And like this team probably has a legitimately pretty good culture right now. Like guys would want to be here. At center, yeah, Mark Eaton is a really good really good fit, it indicates, which makes sense because he's not a great offensive player, but boy, the guy can play defense like crazy. Yeah, let's offer Mark Eaton. Okay, so now it's time to release one more guy if we want to get an extra small forward, I guess. Though honestly, I'm probably okay with this as maybe go with a 9-man rotation. I do kind of like the idea of shortening the bench a little bit just to kind of give the best players more of a chance to shine. Yeah, I think I would be okay with this. And then, Rick Fox, will probably get some minutes at some point. Steve Kerr, kind of a specialist. I don't know about really what any of these other guys are doing here, but we can if something becomes an issue during the season, it can become an issue. Where's Pippen though? Did Pippen end up signing somewhere? Because I don't necessarily like. He's literally one of the poster boys of the era when we entered it just a minute ago. Yeah, Scottie Pippen's still out there. We have to get Pippen on. Like what is even going on that Scottie Pippen is available? So yeah, we'll have to release Kenny Denard, who has no real purpose here. We'll sign Scottie Pippen on extension, sign him to free agent. Yeah, the fact that Scottie Pippen, it's honestly kind of surreal that a player who is as good as Scottie Pippen has just had this nondescript of a career. So yeah, 10-player rotation, kind of true backups along the way. Yeah, I think this team is good now. Honestly, I'm going to switch Hardaway and Harper. I think that just kind of makes more sense. But obviously, Harper's still going to be, a useful overall player. Probably more of the backup, like defensive minded guy too. And then Mitch Richmond is going to have that with Alvin Robertson. Our ranking still says 8th, which is a little strange to me. Let's look at the prospects. Shaquille O'Neal's coming out of the league. Got a lot of B-level prospects, Alonzo Mourning, Christian Laettner. This could be a really interesting draft to have some cards in. I don't remember how many first-round picks. We are trying to replenish a little bit. So we're going to get the swap with Spirits and Bulls. We have a top 3 Texas Bullets pick. We have a Hawks and a Nuggets first-round pick. Next year, we have 3 first-round picks, all unprotected. The year after that, we have 3 all unprotected. The year after that, we have 2 unprotected. I think that we might be this is a little bit of a reset year, but honestly not that much. I think this team is, did the Hardaway thing. But I think this team is definitely worse than last year's team. But I think it's still very capable of winning a championship. But is going to be in a good position next year to see what team finances say. Okay, yeah, we're still easily profitable, which, I don't really care about the profits per se, but it does make me feel a little bit more like we're not playing a total fantasy world kind of financial structure. Let's check out the contract extensions page. So Hakeem Olajuwon and Chris Mullin are both extension eligible, and it says that they will both re-sign. I think that those guys are clearly the priority right now. Those are the 2 best guys on the team. Mullin would be a fun player to extend because we could rip up the player option. Though we are committed to offering him a bird extension, which would mean higher overall salary. Though Hakeem's also looking for that. It's interesting. One thing that I would consider, one thing that would be a positive about extending Hakeem or Chris Mullin for that matter is that they would become trade eligible by like next off season. Let's see if Hakeem will accept this. All right, Hakeem is extended. So this would be a 3-year extension. I guess that would mean the player option converts to just another year. For 3.35. All right, Mullen accepts as well. So yeah, those guys are just on extensions now, and then we'll see what happens with the myriad of guys on 1-year deals here. But I think we're set up, and hopefully we're gonna be ready to win a championship. Not only this year for the 5-peat, but also just keep it going, keep it running for years to come. That should take care of this episode. Hopefully, I'm able to do some fun stuff during this season, and hopefully we'll be looking at another deep playoff run come next video. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this page. Be sure to like this video. Juice your algorithm to get more of this content if you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, still give us a like. The algorithms are totally messed up anyway. Who cares? All right. See you guys.